Another post-mortem edition of the Cleveland Browns Brownie Bites with Daryl, Ruiter, and Andy Baskin. Thanks for joining us. Unfortunately, we had to watch that for the last 3 or 4 hours. 41-17, the Ravens win. And if I would have told you that Derrick Henry would have only had 24 yards in this game, probably would have thought the Browns had a chance. They didn't.
No, they didn't. And this is one of those situations, Andy, where the Browns talked the talk. They were offended by the 12.5-point spread in the game. And then they went out and just absolutely were embarrassed. Let's be honest about it. This was a game that Browns fans really, really wanted. They wanted this football team to show up. I think Browns fans understand that more weeks than not this year, this Cleveland Browns team is challenged offensively and they're somewhat overmatched. But they want them to show up on a weekly basis. And offensively, this was a no-show. What happened in Baltimore. There's no question about it. A frustrating afternoon. Joe Flacco gets the rest of the fourth quarter off when they're down 41-10. Dylan Gabriel with a mop and bucket put together a nice little touchdown drive. Let's give him credit. Nice pass to Dylan Sampson, unfortunately, in garbage time and in the grand scheme and lexicon of things, it doesn't matter. But just an absolute putrid performance in 2 of the 3 phases. And I know you might say, well, they gave up 41 points. How can you not get on the defense? Well, at some point when you have an offense that has very few, if any, difference makers on it, Andy, it's going to get burned out. And I think that's what happened to the Browns in the second half. Defensively, they just got gassed. And also, too, offensive mistakes, special teams mistakes ultimately ended up costing the Browns a lot of points in this game. So I know that you look at that 41 burger out there, and you're thinking, boy, what a putrid effort from the Browns defense, who did a lot of talking this week. But no, it was the offense and the special teams that let the defense down today.
Yeah, 14 of those 41 points came on turnovers, right? The Flacco interception that he got knocked out at the 1-yard line, and then you had the scoop and score for the other touchdown. What a brutal day. They did hit the nail on the head at the end of the game. Like, why play Joe Flacco at all moving forward?
Yeah, you got the 3-0 Packers coming into town. I think you start him this week against the Packers. And let's be honest about you, I don't think anyone's picking him to win that football game, right? I
could be the same kind of spread as this week.
Well, not only spread, I'm thinking result. I've watched those first 2 Packers games. Wow, they are a wagon. So I have no expectation that the Browns can be very competitive against the Packers next week. Then I think you can start to have the conversation. If you're going to go out and lose anyway, you might as well lose with Dylan Gabriel rather than Joe Flacco, because there is no, it becomes pointless. You know what I'm saying? To keep running Flacco out there. Just to go out there and take beatings week in and week out. But the final,
I thought the defense.
Yeah, I mean, the final numbers for Flacco were somewhat respectable, but not really. 25 of 45, a $199, a touchdown, and an interception, a rating of 65. That just doesn't get it done in the NFL. Conversely, Lamar Jackson, 19 of 29, 225. 4 touchdowns, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens and a rating of close to 130 there. And that doesn't include the work that he did on the ground, a couple of carries for, 13 yards. Flacco really doesn't give you a whole lot when it comes to the running game. The interception, Andy, for me, that was the nail in the coffin. When he threw that pick and the Ravens were able to cash that in for points, I was like, yeah, this one's pretty much done.
No one's talking about Bubba Ventrone and the special teams, but they were a little bit last week. Special teams have been horrific for 2 weeks, and I mean, even go back to last year. I don't. Something has to change on special teams, doesn't it?
Well, special teams have been horrific since he got here.
Yeah,
he is not only the special teams coordinator, but he's I believe the associate head coach as
right.
well. And I remember, I was really excited when they got him, when they went from Mike Prefer to Bubba Ventrone. I was really excited about that. Now I'm sitting here saying, where's Chris Tabor and what can we trade to get him back here? Because Chris was just the absolute best. It's been real disappointing. The return game is putrid, kickoff and punt. You had a blocked punt today. Your kicker missing kicks. last week, right? I mean, your special teams is costing you points. They're not just costing you field position. They are legitimately costing you points, Andy, in games. And you're right. At some point, it's got to be fair to, and this isn't just we're prisoner of the moment 2 weeks into the season, a couple of mistakes, we're blowing. No, this has been since he's gotten here. There has been zero quantifiable improvement in the Cleveland Browns special teams games since Bubba Ventrone got here. That is extremely disappointing. And I do feel like it's appropriate to start asking questions as to why that is.
I don't have an answer for it either. And Mike Prefer is currently at North Carolina, so that ship isn't about to turn. I still always wondered why they made that move in the first place, but it is what it is. Where do you want to sit?
You broke up there, so I have no idea.
I'm breaking up like crazy on my end. I don't know if you've noticed that. Have you noticed that?
I have.
Okay.
I'm trying to read lips.
No, I know. I'm assuming that you're carrying the weight when my when I keep breaking out. So we've done this long enough that we know how to do these now. That's what's scary. Where do you turn the page? Like I don't. This game was so bad, Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, look, Andy, it was so bad it's indescribable at this point. The run game was a look. Let's
go.
Yeah, let's look at a couple of bright spots. Quinshon Judkins in his debut, 6.1 yards per carry average. He carried it 10 times for 61 yards, so that was, certainly nice to see. Harold Fannin continues to catch the football when it is thrown in his direction. 5 targets, 5 receptions for him on Sunday. And then Myles Garrett, who I believe right now is on pace for nearly 30 sacks. The exact math is 29.75 sacks, which I do believe would be an NFL record. He's at 3.5 sacks through 2 weeks. So Mason Graham had a good opening series and then kind of vanished after that. He had a couple of nice stops in the run game there, and then we didn't really see much of him the rest of the way as far as him showing up on the film in the game type of a thing. But really, that's where the good stuff ends, right? I mean, right. Okay, the Browns had more first downs than the Ravens, believe it or not, 17-14. They did, to their credit, they picked it up on third down. They finished 7 of 18 on third down. At one point, I think they were like 2 for 10. It was just like really, really bad. And they held the Ravens to 3 for 12. So it goes back to that. You look at that final score, Andy, and you see the 41 points, and you're like, man, boy, the Browns defense really got waxed today. No, that's not really what happened. They held the Ravens to 3 for 12 on third down. Do you know how hard it is to hold the Baltimore Ravens to 3 for 12 on third down, and you still lose 41-17? I mean, bravo, Browns. Well done.
Back in that locker room on Monday morning.
Yeah, I don't know how Kevin Stefanski is going to handle the locker room thing at this point, because what do you tell your team right now? Right? I mean,
we need a new offense.
I mean,
how about drop passes again today, early on?
I mean, everyone's jazzed up because the Ravens are rubbing the Browns' nose in the 30th anniversary thing, right? That's what we talked about the whole week, right? And then it was the point spread. And then it was, you had Jerry Jeudy talking about how the Ravens secondary was no challenge for him. Well, Jerry Jeudy caught 4 of 8 passes for 51 yards. The long was the beautiful, going up and over to overextend to make a catch. But and a couple of those incompletions were basically throwaways by Joe Flacco. But Jeudy didn't exactly do anything spectacular today. I mean, look, let's be honest about it right now. The Browns have, from my perspective, Andy, and Jerry's a nice player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a game changer. The Browns have right now 0 game changers on offense. Like David Njoku right now is not a game changer. Maybe Quinshon Judkins can be that game changer coming out of the backfield. I believe Harold Fannin has the potential to be a game changer for them. I think Njoku still can be a game changer, but you got to give the guy opportunities to be a game changer. I mean, Njoku had I think 4 catches for 40 yards on Sunday. You got to get Njoku more involved in this thing as well. But right now, there are no game changers offensively for the Cleveland Browns. And that obviously starts at the quarterback. And as we sit here, you know what? Here's the question that we're going to be asking in a few weeks. Are you ready for this one?
I'm listening.
What if they just sub out Joe Flacco for Deshaun Watson?
Do you think Deshaun is ready?
Well, the videos certainly look good on Instagram. Now, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not I'm not a member of the Browns coaching staff. I realize, and you know me, I'm always on your show talking in the offseason about it's on air. Things are supposed to look good on air, right?
Right.
But I'll say this, because he's been posting a lot of mobility stuff where he's showing that his Achilles is okay. He's, going through cones and stuff like that, simulating working through the pocket, changing directions, going frontwards, backwards, side to side, rolling outside the pocket and things like that. So he's trying to demonstrate, at least in these videos that have been put out on social media as he goes through this rehab and recovery, that he is getting close to being ready to go. Like, and the way he is.
Do you believe he is?
I don't know. And the reason
I think that the odds of seeing Dillon Gabriel before Deshaun Watson are 1,000 times greater.
I understand that. I'm just asking the question.
I think it's a fair question. I've always said, ROI, baby, when it comes to Deshaun Watson, return on investment. And if he's healthy enough to play, the question is, what do you do with Joe? You just release him?
Probably, or try and trade him if somebody needs a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You do right by him. He did right by you. You do try and do right by him. If he is okay, just stepping back and just being here, then you hang on to him. But I think that that's a conversation Andrew Berry obviously has to have. Even if they go to Dillon Gabriel, I'm not talking about like going to Deshaun. I'm saying even regardless if they make the change, right? You sit down and you say, hey, Joe, here's the situation. This is where we're at. This is our record. This is, how the offense is performed. We, appreciate everything you're doing here. We have 2 options. One, you can be here and be a great teammate and be a leader and a mentor in that locker room and voice of reason and things like that. Or we can either release you or try to trade you and send you somewhere, you can be in a situation that you feel good about. And that wouldn't surprise me because Andrew Berry's that type of a general manager.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even when he's had, go back to the Odell thing, right? I mean, that was a contentious situation. And what did Andrew do? He did what was right by Odell and ultimately granted the guy his release.
Everyone's going to be arguing about all week. Everyone is going to be arguing about whether Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders should be out there. The Sanders voices are going to be very, very loud this week. I think the Browns will, though. Yeah, I said play this thing out till it goes sideways. Today it was sideways.
Yes, 100%. And look, they don't want to play Shedeur Sanders. Now, something did come up in the CBS broadcast that I think is very, very important, and that was, there was this conversation that occurred this week that Shedeur Sanders was basically standing around doing nothing at practice and not getting any opportunity whatsoever. And Ross Tucker, who you hear on the afternoon show with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin every Wednesday afternoon, he had said, hey, they are giving him, in addition to whatever spot work he's getting in practice, they are doing an extra practice period to get him reps, to prepare him and develop him. So this notion that Shedeur Sanders and the Browns are making this guy stand around and watch practice every day is patently false. And Ross Tucker made that very clear on the CBS broadcast. But I will say this about Shedeur, as much as I would probably rather watch him than Dillon Gabriel at this point, if there is a quarterback change, I think that the Browns want to protect Shedeur a little bit. They don't think he's ready. They want to buy him as much. I don't think even if we do see Shedeur Sanders, Andy, my guess is we don't see him till late December.
Yeah, I would say no sooner than week 7 or 8, right? Get through the first 6 games after the bye even.
No. I'm talking about Shedeur. Like,
I am too.
Yeah, no, you're not going to see that guy until December. You're not going to see. You're going to be.
Well, I mean, you just never know, though. Like, if they decide they're not going to go with Flacco, they want to go to Gabriel. Something happens to Gabriel.
Wow. Okay. Fine. I mean, that's fair. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
as far as I'm going by the actual organizational timetable here,
Right.
They want to do. And to your point, to be fair to your point, yeah. When does the Browns' best plan ever work out? Right. I mean, when do they ever get to follow their blueprint? They never do. Circumstances always force them off the rails. But I think that if they're calling the shots here, you're not going to see him till maybe week 15, 16 at the very, very earliest, because they want to make sure that this kid, when they do put him out there, he's set up to succeed. And they just feel there's a lot of things in his game right now that he still has to refine and clean up. And he's being asked to do a lot of stuff that he's never been asked to do in his life when it comes to the football aspect of things. So, whereas Dylan Gabriel, Dylan's had to do some of it and he's picked it up, and he looked good in that drive. Let's give him his due, even though the game was over, but he did a nice job, took advantage of his opportunity, put as many points on the scoreboard as Joe Flacco did on Sunday. So, but I do think they stick with Joe Flacco here for a little bit. I think that they stick with him at least for one more week against the Green Bay Packers. Because I think if you put Dylan Gabriel out there, you're sending that kid out to slaughter. And that's not fair to him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we've seen that before. So,
we've seen that movie. It never goes well when they do something like that. So I still believe that the plan will be, this is going, like, it's starting to go sideways, right? We're only week 2 and it's already starting to go sideways. You lose 41-17, your season already is starting to go sideways in week 2. This, again, after everything that was said during the week, again, whether it was the 30th anniversary celebration, tackling Derrick Henry, which they did a good job hemming up Derrick Henry, but the problem was they
didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Like, it was inconsequential. It mattered nothing. And so when you're in the spot that you're in right now, I think you just got to get through these next couple of weeks with Joe, and then put yourself in a position to where when you do put Dylan Gabriel on the field, you're putting him in a position to be successful. Because I just don't think it's fair to him that you would just throw him to the wolves against the Green Bay Packers like that. There's just nothing to be learned from that. And so I do believe they stick with Joe for one more week. Whether you or me or anyone else likes it, doesn't like it, it doesn't matter. I do think they stick with Joe Flacco for one more week, as painful as that offense has been to watch these first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that, although I'm okay if they want to make a change at this point. I mean, again, I said play him till it goes sideways.
Well, here's the thing, Andy. This offense is exactly what I was describing to all y'all in training camp, and everyone was getting
just hang on to the ball. Like, how many more drop passes? How does this game change if you don't drop passes? So,
well, I mean, maybe they have another touchdown or something like that. But let's be honest about it, Andy. The Baltimore Ravens are infinitely better at the sport of football than the Cleveland Browns ever have been. And I hate to say it, the Browns may never be as good as the Baltimore Ravens are. That just might be the reality of this thing. Okay. That's how bad at football the Browns are and have been for 27 years. Mike Freeman, a buddy of mine, national writer, I guess CBS happened to show a Browns fan with a bag over their head.
Yeah, they showed it.
Yeah, okay. And he's like, yeesh. And I almost wanted to respond to him, listen, these people not only lost their football team and had to watch it go to another city and become one of the most successful franchises in the entire league and win a couple Super Bowls, but the team that they got in return is as incompetent as the day is long. Year in and year out, they can't find quarterbacks. They can't find kickers. They can't find receivers who know how to catch footballs. The only thing they can find are the offensive linemen, and they have a franchise defensive tackle in Myles Garrett, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Other than that, they have nothing to show for this expansion era. In 27 years, the Browns have nothing to show their fans. One playoff win. What was it really worth getting the Browns back for what fans continue to have to suffer through here? Like, it's beyond my thing. My whole thing is, Andy, is this is grossly unfair to Browns fans. This, when you talk about the impatience of fans, fans have to be patient. My response to that is, how much more patient do you want Browns fan to be? They have put up with all of your crap for 27 years. Okay. They were ready to cheer on a quarterback who came here with one of the most sordid list of accusations possible. And you asked those fans to rally behind that guy and to cheer him on, and they were willing to do it. And you've brought in other players that have had some questionable character concerns, and the fans are willing to set that aside and cheer for it. Okay. How much more do Browns fans have to put up with this organization? That was a no-show in Baltimore. That was embarrassing. They're rubbing they're rubbing your fans' nose in the fact that they stole your team. They've won Super Bowls. They have a bunch of Hall of Famers, and you guys are still the laughing stock of the National Football League. They rubbed your nose in it today, off the field, and then on the field. Oh yeah. Do you think Lamar Jackson needed to throw that fourth touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins today? Did that
Probably
really
not.
happen? No, they were rubbing your noses in it. Why? Because a couple of your players decided to flap their gums without achieving anything as a team in the National Football League. That's what you get for talking. Okay. You thought 12.5 was pretty embarrassing? Well, you lost 41-17. To me, the 12.5-point spread was generous.
He's Daryl Ruiter. I'm Andy Baskin. It's our post-game edition of the Browns each and every game.
And Andy froze up again, so I'm going to go ahead and put the wraps on this one.
Daryl, say goodbye.
Yeah, we gotta say goodbye, Andy. You keep freezing up on us here. Your feed right now is.
I know. I'm so cold from that game.
Your feed is as cold as the Browns' offense is right now. So,
amen, brother. Amen.
So let's call it a post-game show here. Thanks as always for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. For Andy Baskin, I'm Daryl Ruiter. Cleveland Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Thanks for watching.